Hey, welcome to Mind, Health, and Wellness with LaJune. You guys are not ready for this guest. She is the founder and CEO of SakredShe. Her name is Sandy Sembler. Thank you for joining me. And can you give a wonderful background on yourself? Because I don't think these ladies are ready.
You want me to share?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Well, so much fun to be here with you. And I knew it was going to be fun just for our pre-interview. So I knew this was going to be a great thing to bring forward to your audience. I just enjoyed it so much, your passion. So I'm Sandy Sembler, as you said, and Sacred She is essentially has been my healing journey through my 52 years here on this planet. I like to call it Earth School, and I really believe that we can alchemize our life's experiences into a purpose, turn our pain into a purpose, and that's essentially what I've done. Sacred She was born after I had an intervention with Tony Robbins, where I was 4 hours in front of him, where if you know, Tony Robbins is a motivational speaker. And if you're at one of his events, sometimes he picks someone and he'll just go there with you. And I was a very successful woman in business, but had not been super successful in love. And had a tendency to choose toxic situations that kept showing up and showing up. And so that sent me around the world several times to study with different teachers. And I was coaching women back then in entrepreneurship and business. And what I was noticing as I started to learn about masculine and feminine energies that Tony brought forth for me, that I was a very masculine woman in the sense that I was very much about getting it done, getting things done. I wasn't a mean woman. It wasn't like a mean girl kind of a thing, but I just was really had a lot of masculine qualities and not a lot of that softer, nurturing side. And I had a tendency to emasculate men, considering that I grew up with my mom, single mom. She just like basically said, you don't need a man. Why do you need a man? Look what your dad did to us, kind of a thing, right? And I think a lot of us, right, you're not have been through that. And I think that with this generation where I am now, what I've really discovered too is how we emasculate our own sons. And so Sacred She was born there. And, there's Sacred Respect, which is a course that I wrote about how to help women basically heal their own masculine energies, and then also learn how to heal their relationship with the masculine outside in the world. I really believe like how we do anything is how we do everything. And so anyway, that's like a small introduction of what I'm about. Of what I'm about. And it's been fascinating to see that it doesn't matter what culture that we're in, around the world, women tend to understand that we do have this masculine energy that gets things done. Mothering in itself is actually quite masculine, right? Did you do your homework? Tie your shoes. Your very directive energy is, but the essence of mother is life, is energy, is vibrancy. So, and mother is very, very feminine and lovely and energetic. So, yeah, it's been fascinating to introduce women to this concept that already lives within us, and helping women learn how to alchemize their emotions and feel their feelings in a way that doesn't just consume them, but will move through them, which is the one you and I connected with, is that way we don't have energy and stagnation in the body, which is what causes us to get sick, causes diseases and things like that. So I was not raised that way. I was not raised to just emote, and just to, share what's on your mind. I was raised to just get things done, honestly, and survive. It was very primal in a way. So that was a long introduction, but I hope that gave you something we can chew
No,
on.
it was definitely necessary and needed that explanation because I think for so many women, we have lost our femininity. And most of us don't even know where to start or what it looks like
Right.
because we've been handling everything for such a long time when it comes to our careers, when it comes to families, when it comes to taking care of your parents. It's
Yeah.
that masculine role because it's the head. You've become the head of everything in
Yeah.
your life now.
Yeah, I like how you said that too, because it's not that the masculine energy is bad. We need it. The masculine energy got me here at 9:15 this morning to set up to make sure that I knew StreamYard, right? I mean, it's the thing that gets us here. It's actually the integrity. And if you want to look at even like the rectangles, everyone's seeing this in video, the rectangles of where I am and you're in, I mean, the container is the rectangle. What you and I do within here is the art form. And so the art is how we show up in the world and how we want to actually come forth in the world and how we want to experience the world. I mean, just experiencing life through the five senses. So, you know, and I know you and I mentioned this when I spoke to you before, is it really is fascinating to me. It's like you say we've lost feminine energy. Because the cool thing is if we lost it, that we can find it again because it lives within us, right? And it's that moment that, like, when I take my sip of coffee, I can taste, you know, the vanilla in the coffee. Will I slow down enough to actually not just think about the buzz I get from the caffeine, but it's going to be like, oh, there it is. There's that little hint of vanilla, right? There's that me noticing how beautiful red looks on you. Noticing you noticing me and nodding your head and me feeling seen, heard, and understood. Because women, and I'm going to be gender specific right now, women want to be seen, heard, understood, and we want to feel safe. When we don't, we complain, we close off our energy, and we criticize. And that's really, and I'm kind of spreading out the web of my work, but that's a lot of the reasons why, if people can understand that, if our partners can understand that when she's complaining, when she's criticizing, when she's lost her zest for life, it's probably because we don't feel seen, heard, understood, or feel safe. And there's a way that, like I know when I work with partners, for him to open up our hearts, you know, open up our heart again. Now it's our responsibility to love on ourselves, our responsibility to be seen, heard, understood, and feel safe, and not wait for the outside to do it for us. But again, I go back to what I was originally going to say, is that when I work with women initially, what I find more than anything is that they've lost their sense of just unabashed childlike joy. They've lost the little girl within. And so some people call it that your inner child. I personally think there's 10 women that live inside of us, and they all have their own name. And there's like the boss lady, right? There's the champion who embodies all of the energies. There's the mother energy. And so they all have these. There's also the one that's the driver. And so I like to teach women about that too. So all that happens within our course load. But I think that joy is the first energy that I want to tap into, maybe because it was so lost on me. You know, my first teacher in this embodiment work, and I'll back up because I love to learn. I'm a seeker. And so I'm always in a course, or I'm always reading a book. And, you know, it's just, I love to just to learn and then I love to give it back to the community. And, you know, I had so much knowledge in this brain of mine, but it didn't seem like it was seeping down into my body. And I don't mean just the sensuality of the body, but I mean that I still was getting sick. I was having back pain. You know, there's a lot of ailments that were happening. What I realized is that I had not allowed myself to feel the emotions. And so, and I believe you have to feel to heal, you know, with somatic work, and you don't have to sit here and do breath work necessarily to actually feel feelings. It literally could be, like I said, do the five senses. But going back to joy, my first embodiment teacher, when I realized I had a lot of head knowledge, but it wasn't actually being alchemized through my system. My first teacher, when he was like, you know, as a couple that worked with me and one of my certifications, and they said, you know what we're finding out about you, Sandy, is that you are addicted to being disappointed. You are addicted to pain. You are so used to being disappointed that your body almost craves it. And that was like, what? And then I went, whoa, because there's such a thing to get addicted to love itself, and the highs and the lows, and we can get addicted to drama. And the cool thing is, because I've studied the brain and I use brain training and theta healing, all kinds of modalities when clients work with me. But the neat thing is that we can always create new neural pathways. We can create new patterns within the brain. So instead of craving the love drug and the drama, we can actually go, not even go there. We can actually crave peace, serenity, nurturing, fire, passion, whatever that is, but it takes repetition. So for me, so what they gave me these embodiment practices, and I wanted to make sure that I shared this on the show, was they actually literally had me do a skipping practice because they wanted me to tap into little Sandy. My little Sandy is called Simone. So when I met Simone for the first time, again, literally, listen to this beautiful song, and I'm happy to share this. I'll share this with you as well. But I get on my knees and imagine that she's like literally in front of me. And I met her eye to eye, and I apologized to her, and did the Ho'oponopono prayer. I love you. Thank you. Forgive me. I'm sorry. And just met her. She was mad at me. She was pissed off at me. She was angry because I had abandoned her for so long. And then the practice was, after that, is to literally imagine that she's with me all the time. Like, and I even do this when I decide if I'm going to be on a podcast or not. Hey, what'd you think about her? You think she's all right? Should we do it? Should we go on? And it sounds so silly, but we would do that with our own kids, I would hope, right? So if we treat, and she's always with me. And there are times, even as recent as a few months ago, I can tell you, I kind of put her on the back burner, and there was some suffering that was happening within my world because, that zest for life, the joy, the nurturing that I should be giving myself was too busy going outward to other things. And so it's a way to do a check-in. Now, how they had me tap into her after that beautiful practice that I just shared was the practice of, like, we practice piano, we practice yoga. We're always in practice. And so it's practice skipping, to literally skip for 3 minutes a day in public. So I could train this brain that it's okay to be witnessed in joy. I'm not going to die. Brain, primal brain, that's only here to make us safe and keep us alive. It doesn't give 2 cents if we're happy or not. It wants to keep us alive. And if I truly was, my system, addicted to being disappointed, being essentially abused in a lot of ways, then I better tap into that joy. And so you better believe I was like, all right, you know what? I'm sold out to this. And I trusted them. And I have videos of me skipping down the beach and skipping through a restaurant. And I still do that. Oh, when you walk into a grocery store, the doors swing open like this. Walk into the grocery like, yes, I've arrived. It sounds so silly, but see, you're giggling. I do too, even when I say it, because listen, it's hard to be angry and feel sorry for ourselves when we're really smiling and we're adding joy to our own lives and to other people. I think I heard Joyce Meyer say that one time. It's hard to feel selfish when you're in service. And so for me, the happier that I can be genuinely joyful for no reason, but also to feel joy also means that you feel the sorrow, because there's always going to be the flip side. And so I'm not talking about spiritually bypassing and only going straight to joy, but allowing ourselves to start there. And again, and again, I've worked with, teenagers and preteens, and I did a camp last summer, and it was amazing seeing kids from 8 to 13, these little girls, going around the circle and asking them what's a brag that they have? What's a brag? And I taught them to say, I brag that I'm proud that and every single one of the little girls, until I got a hold of them, was like, I'm proud that I made straight A's, or I'm proud that I can do a triple duper or something, somersault. It was all about something that, like an action item, which is a very masculine, something they could, something tangible, right? Which generally is put into our brain from society, that we must do something masculine to achieve something, to be proud. And I was like, all that's great. I've got my spiritual pom-poms. Everybody in SakredShe has their own pom-poms, and literally pom-poms to cheer ourselves on. And then as we pass the pom-pom around, so they could feel what it feels like to be excited. But then I said, I'd love for you to brag on that you've allowed yourself to feel an emotion that maybe you haven't just shared out loud. And then that was really difficult, because the one emotion that they said that they were afraid to show was anger. like actually anger, because either they were told not to show it. They thought they would lose friends if they showed it. They didn't understand like the hormonal, what's going on. And so giving them permission to actually feel the feeling of what I like to call sacred rage, which comes deep from the belly, deep from the spirit, deep from the heart, and giving them the opportunity to feel what it feels like to actually allow themselves to be angry, because under the anger masks something else and then something else. And I like to have a lecture that I've done, like the feelings underneath, because then came the tears, then came the embarrassment of, then came the shame, then came the feeling of, I'm going to be alone, whatever it was, the fears of abandonment. And anger generally is masking something deeply rooted within us. And, you know, it's okay to feel that and to let them experience that as well. And then also that they even could be proud of themselves. I mean, that was the other thing, like, it's okay for us to brag on ourselves. Like, yeah, because if you know who you're being in the moment, I tell women that if you know who you are, like, you know who you be, like, I know who I am. And if I'm proud of myself for something I've accomplished, and I know it's not coming from this ego mind space, but it's really like, I know it comes from God. God, thank you. And I thank you for giving me the courage to step up and do what I do. I brag that I actually am honoring you. You know, thank you for allowing me to be a beacon of light for you. And I share it in a fun and funky way. Like, that's my mantra. So I wasn't raised like that either, in this Southern Baptist home where, you know, I wasn't even allowed to like really feel music. Like, I can remember, girl, like it being in church and like my hand would start rising, and my mom was like, "What are you doing, Sue? What are you doing?" And then when I finally understood like the relationship with God many moons later, right? And I'm like barefoot, church, singing, praising, all the thing, always music on in the background and feeling the spirit. And I realized that what I realized very quickly, when I finally opened myself up to God loving myself, like really loving myself, that the spirit really does live within us. And it's the feminine that will allow the spirit to shine through. And yeah, so that was a lot. So I don't, that was a lot. Is there anything you want to ask about that or add on?
So when you mention, I agree, and I've even experienced where a lot of women don't really realize that we prepare ourselves for the disappointment, for the shoe to drop, for something bad is going to happen. It's kind of like it's programmed in our head. I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, those are limiting beliefs, right? That hold us back. But the reason why we're doing that, the brain is trained, again, remember, to keep us safe, not happy.
Right.
And so there is a way that we can, and I'm not knocking, want to bypass anything that's ever happened to any of our lives that has caused us to go, great, there's another man not showing up for me. Well, of course he's not, you know. And what happens is that if we put our energy on that, our focus on that, you better believe that that's what's going to happen. I mean, we literally can speak things into existence, truly, good, bad, or indifferent. So there's also, I mean, in our cells and our DNA, this stuff can be passed down generationally. And so, you know, there's a lot of ways we can override that. It takes repetition. There's a way that you can use like energy and prayer and meditation to help remove those beliefs. Because it's also just understanding there's just a way that we actually we're just looking to actually protect ourselves. We're just looking to protect ourselves. And if we can actually observe ourselves, observing ourselves, and go, wait a minute, there it is again. There's my brain. We can literally learn to walk our brain to do something different. And that takes, I mean, that's why I use a lot of meditations and movement meditations. And there's just, because however long you've been here on this planet in your own earth school, right? I mean, I've been here 52 years. So as beliefs come up, I have to remember I have 52 years of programming that I need to like undo. And sometimes just praying about them alone is is not going to do it, but that we actually have to put some muscle into it and allow ourselves to override whatever it is that's showing up. Again, it's simple, but it's not easy. Otherwise, other people would actually all be walking around all this abundance, right? And listen, even though I know everything I know, I believe the last 5% of healing happens in partnership. Like, it's kind of easy being single, and in the sense of, it might be lonely sometimes, but you don't have to share a whole lot of anything with somebody. And so it's like being a monk and meditating in a cave all the time by yourself. I mean, life's easy in that sense. Hence the reason why, I'm sure that God didn't want priests, for example, to get married and not all this, all of that. But because there's no distractions. So let's get in the rink. And then when you get in the rink with girlfriends, you get in the rink with your children, you get in the rink really in partnership. That's really when the rubber meets the road. And that's where a lot of times wounds that you didn't even know that you still had, including myself, will come out. It's like, I call it whack-a-mole. I was like, oh boy, there's that. Okay, well, how are we going to heal this piece? And if you're in partnership where you understand that's really how sacred union is born, is through some of the hardships, and how do you actually, workshop these things together, then you can be stronger. And not everybody, will make it through that. Like, I choose to stand for like sacred union, and, how are we better for God through, being the best we can, not just obedient in the ways that maybe some people may think, but how are we actually helping each other open our hearts, sting each other back to consciousness, so we can bring out the yucky stuff and then let it just dissipate. And that's not an easy feat to do. But that's also why in friendships, I'm the same way. I don't want to have friends who tell me what I want to hear. I want them to know my higher self and go, hey, Sandy, that ain't cool. What's going on with you, right? I don't need a bunch of people that are saying, agreeing with me. I'd rather have people that I know love me and have my back, and they don't agree with me, because I know when I talk to women who end up meeting like Mr. Nice Guy, they're turned off. And why are they turned off? They're turned off because primarily they don't feel safe. Because if you're with a man who's always going to be yes, 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 whatever you want, it may be nice for a short spell, especially if you've been with somebody who was a jerk before. But your body is going, listen to the body. The body's going primarily, can I trust this person? If he's always going to give me what I want, he's never going to make a stand for what he believes in. I mean, I'm always going to be able to rule the roost. And remember, I'm going to say the weakest, just for lack of a better word, the lower frequency we will always, rise to that occasion. So we will primarily take over. So if you're in a partnership where you feel like you're always taking charge, well, I'm going to teach you how to learn to feel comfortable in the lean back, in the surrender and the allowing. Notice who's talking more. Notice who's actually making the decisions. We have in one of my courses, we talk about letting him lead you badly. Now, I'm not saying that it's not like you want to get in the car with a drunk driver kind of a thing. There's discernment in this, of course, and wisdom, but there's a way, just like you said in the start of this so beautifully, we've been trained to take over. We've been, raised in a society where people think women can do, I'm so sorry, I don't know what's happening on the internet. It's a society where we can do everything. But quite frankly, I like to coin myself as I'm a woman, like I'm a feminist who actually really loves men, because I actually believe that we really can go shoulder to shoulder with a man. And if we had more men who actually were in touch with their feminine energy, and we had more women who actually were more in touch with a healthy masculine and a healthy feminine, the world would be better, because we'd be leading with our heart. But the masculine is our integrity. The masculine is the integrity. It's our boundaries. If you're living a boundary-less life, it's because your masculine energy needs a tune-up. So I'm kind of throwing in some different pieces here of the different energetics. And I know that in the show notes, we have my free quiz to offer everybody, so they can go a little bit deeper in the work. But yeah, the masculine feminine is in everything that we do. And it's in business. It's in how we make our decisions. and how we don't make our decisions. It's in how we really experience our life. And I can tell you that when I'm feeling down, it's probably because I haven't been honoring myself. And I've probably been giving a lot on the outside, hoping that that's going to smooth things over. And there's something about slowing down and allowing ourselves to experience things. And I know that some women maybe hear this and go, well, yeah, you don't know my life. You don't know, you don't understand. And that's why for me, the way I practice and what I teach within SakredShe is that it's in those micro moments. Because life is, we have 24 hours, right, every day to basically be embodied. And we are embodied, but what are you embodying? And so if we believe that we can lead a horse to water, we can lead our hearts to love. We can lead our bodies to experience life. We can train this primal computer up here that is actually okay to experience some joy. And it could even be in the moments of, when you're driving, can you actually feel the leather on your steering wheel? Can you actually listen to a song that will drop you right into your heart again? And so you can go from the office home and there be where your masculine brain of being on all day can slow it down. And then you can get yourself, and then you can actually walk into the home and then be mom, and then be partner, be wife. And then, allow yourself to sink into that fun, feminine space. Let your kids see you, cooking and dancing. Let them see you giggling. Not let everything be so directed, and because they need to experience that from us as well. I was a single mom, and Cameron, experienced me in a lot of heartbreak and a lot of heartache. He saw me build several businesses, and he has a lot of respect for me in business. And I know that because of a few times, like with his dad, I was afraid I was going to lose his love. And so sometimes I wasn't as strict with him as I should have been, and which only, hurt him down the road, of course. But he also saw me a lot more in the masculine role. And I didn't know this work, when he was younger. Now, as he got older, I learned to appreciate him more. Understanding that young boys, they go through their hormonal change like we do around 13. And anytime, by the way, all kids are feminine until they hit puberty. Once they hit puberty, what happens is they have this massive rush of testosterone, not just boys. So that rebelling that happens is the testosterone hitting. And we want our kids to have a mind of their own. Men and, like the boys and the girls, they have a mind of their own. So instead of us trying to squash it, they're like, they want their independence. Now, how can we actually give them some boundaries around it, but also let them make their own decisions? Because listen, anytime that we are telling someone what to do, we're directing them in any way, it's a micro form of manipulation. Right. And depending on the age, of course, it's can we, that's what we have a whole world right now, depending on your age, especially like in the 30s, of these pretty passive men, where women that age they're working with, they're like, what's going on? But they're afraid to be men. They don't understand that we actually are craving that. So we have to actually evoke that, ladies. We can evoke the masculine so much more than we have so much power. And I want women to hear that we have so much power within our feminine energy. And that may seem, contradictory, but it is in the power of allowing. And so obviously there's a lot of nuances here that we aren't going to go in here, but there's a way that we can evoke that from the masculine in our sons, and out there in the world, the butcher. And it doesn't mean that we're being all super sexy and hitting on them. It's actually just in our essence alone, with our vibrancy alone, and also our confidence as well. And confidence isn't always like, I've got it all together. Confidence is in that self-assurance that, yeah, like I'm here. I'm a light. I'm here to light up the world. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So can you talk about what a couple or a woman can expect by coming to you for services? What does that look like?
Yeah. Thank you for asking that too. There's there's lots of different ways to work with me. I have self-study courses that you get access to me through the videos and such. And so those are self-study courses. To work with me personally, I have a Sisterhood is my signature program, where it's a 5-month program where women from all over come together, and it's virtual, and we meet every 2 weeks, and there's a curriculum. It's a deep dive into awakening who you really are. We go through attachment styles, we go through limiting beliefs, like you mentioned earlier. We heal the feminine and the masculine, mother wounds, daddy wounds, all of those things. We go through a sacred relationship vision and the way you want to have relationship, whether you're in partnership or not, with yourself, and then also with the partner you're calling in, or even to the partner that you're with. So that's a deep dive. And then I have my one-on-one mentorship, where it's essentially the same arsenal of goodies that I have, but it's really curated more for you. And because I have a big and great business acumen, a lot of times we'll work a lot with business as well. But really it's around who you are and what you want to bring forth. A lot of women who start working with me end up staying with me for 3 to 4 years, and we go through certain iterations of their life. So there's different ways to work with me, and all of those should be, I think, in the show notes here. But it starts honestly with the quiz, to kind of go there. But if anybody wants to I do a free discovery call, and I still meet with everybody. So it's like a 30-minute like pre-coaching call where I get to know you, and we can determine which program is right for you. And that's free of charge. I love getting to know people and feeling into someone. And I know you're the same way, like to really feel the energy. And it's a great way for me to determine like what's best. But it's not just about, are you in a bad relationship? It really starts with you. Like, how do you want to show up in the world, and maybe soften some edges, heal some of those mama wounds or father wounds that might be leading things. And you never quite know what's going to come up with me. I've got a lot of different modalities that I work with, but everything's centered in the heart. And I'm tough. I mean, if you listen to some of my testimonials, I'm tough. I'm going to get in the rink with you, and I'm not going to sugarcoat things. And there's all these Sandy-isms that come through that you'll hear, but it sticks. And I want women to understand that we don't have to be in competition with each other. That's very masculine. We actually can really support each other, love each other, and actually love each other up by seeing the best, having positive intent. And, sisterhood is what really is going to rule the world. I mean, we are life givers. And so I think that we can actually give life in just those moment to moment ways. And so it's such an honor and privilege to work with women. And I also didn't realize how much I didn't actually appreciate women when I was so operating out of the masculine. I was so on the go that I was like, oh my gosh, can she stop talking? Like, please get to the point. Like, what is she doing? God, we got things to do. And now it's like, we call it a meta report. Right. And I speak in that way. I may give out a lot of nuggets, but it's like following Jimmy from Family Circus. It's like we end up getting back to the point. It's always back to the heart, back to love. But I think it's really great I can teach in the feminine, always bringing it back to what the curriculum is. And so you never quite know what's going to come up with me. I also have a free Facebook community, the SakredShe Society, that we can make sure we give to you as well, that women can pop in. But I do live coaching in there, and that's free. So lots of different ways to work with me, for sure.
Okay. And can you tell people where they can find you? I know you mentioned Facebook, but the exact
yes, ma'am.
User.
Yeah. So sandysembler.com/quiz is where you'll find that free energetic quiz between the masculine and feminine. And just because we're all women, and if you're a man, you can take it as well. If you're listening to the show, I know you have a male audience too. But yeah, just because it's not gender specific. Like I was super masculine, but I definitely am a woman for sure. But this is a way that we get you back to what your core energy is. And, we do have, men that come through our program, not the sisterhood, but our couples program. And I have a referral source where I send them in. So please feel free to take the quiz. And then Instagram is a great way to stay in contact with me too, where I'm in their daily teaching, and I have reels and things that will work there. So Instagram is Sandy Sembler, everything's Sandy Sembler. And please find me and reach out. I would love to chat with anyone here that wants to know a little bit more about the energetics and how it's playing, potentially wreaking havoc in your life. um, just limiting beliefs alone that we don't even know are there. So yeah, thank you for steering people to talk to me. I appreciate that.
You are so welcome. And thank you so much for sharing this information because a lot of women need to definitely hear it. And also myself, because I've definitely experienced that masculinity that's taking control at times where I have to, sit back and sit in stillness and rethink
Mm,
things because we as women, we always want to control everything. So we
yeah,
definitely
yeah.
in the season of letting go and letting God. So I thank you so much for sharing your story and what you do and your passion, because I definitely can feel your passion for what you do. So please contact her. And it's not just somebody else trying to be a coach. Really
Mm.
feel that energy of this is what you're passionate about and you love. So thank you so much for sharing that here.
I
And
received that. Oh my God.
yes,
I'm just gonna say this too. I'll give y'all a really quick tip. That was really beautiful. And I just want you to know I truly received that. And I'm gonna give all of you ladies out there, I mean, even the men, let your feminine receive this too. When you receive when you get a compliment, instead of like, oh, this silly thing, I got it from Target or whatever, or like really feel it. Like you felt me feeling you. I felt myself feeling you giving me, I mean, praise. And I know I'm worthy of it. And thank you. And so it's more than thank you. It's like, wow, like I received that. And just that little bit, that nuance of like, I received that, all of you listening, it will change. And people are like, what? But it's like, yeah, like I really received that. I really felt that. So you do that so naturally, girl. I'm so drawn to you because I think we're kindred spirits. But thank you for allowing us to pitch and catch like this and let it be like on the job training, because I think that it's our beingness that actually is what will change the world. So thank you for acknowledging that you see that in me. Like that means a lot.
I appreciate it. So would love to have you back for next season. But thank you so much. And can you tell the people where they can find you again?
Yeah, Sandy Sembler, Sandy with a Y, and .com, or Sandy Sembler on Instagram. Definitely do the quiz, sandysembler.com/quiz. And I would love to chat with any of you. Just you can reach out in the DMs or what have you. So thank you so much for having me.
You are so welcome. So this is Mind, Health, and Wellness with LaJune. You can find me at lajunesingleton.com. Until next time, be safe and be blessed and put yourself first. Thank you.